All right, I think we have this rolling. Hi, everybody. It's Patty from the Grateful Grasshopper again. Welcome to video number two. I made some changes from video one, thanks to a lot of constructive criticism coming back, and I'm ready to change things up a little, so I hope you'll enjoy this one a little bit more. Just a couple of things. I don't edit, I don't change things, I'm not using filters. So you're going to see things as the way they are. If I stumble on a word, you're going to see it. If, I take a deep breath, that's just me grounding myself. Because sometimes I get nervous or I just need to refocus where I need to be. It's just all part of the process, right? So we're going to start with chapter two of, this might be backwards, I have to work on that, The 12 Laws of Being Human by Manhardeep Singh. You can get these books on Amazon. They're not expensive. The author himself was really receptive to me doing this because getting the message out, I think, is really important. And in chapter one, we did talk about just really being nicer to ourselves, right? Appreciating ourselves, accepting ourselves for who we are, what we look like, the just in general, the things we've done in life. So, and not being so harsh on ourselves, I guess, because we tend to be harder on ourselves than anybody else. We will say things to ourselves daily that we wouldn't say to our worst enemy. And that's what we're trying to change here, is really just understand the process of being human, learn from it, figure out what kind of lessons we do need to learn, how to learn from them, and just move on. Ultimately, we want to create just an easier life. Or not necessarily easier, but a life that we can learn from and understand, which ultimately will help us move through life a little bit easier because we will have a better understanding of what we're going through and why, and we can shift our perspective and look at it a little bit differently, right? So I'm going to go ahead and start with chapter two. I don't know if you can see this with the light. And I'm going to stop, like I said, in between. Like I'll read a few paragraphs and I'll say something about it. And again, at the end, once you watch this video, put questions in the comments, because if I do see any questions anyone has or something they want to discuss further, I will absolutely bring that up on the next video before I start on chapter three. All right, here we go. So for chapter two, this is called The Law of Lessons. And at the beginning he says, and I really like this. I like this perspective. You are enrolled in a full-time informal school called life. Each day in the school, you will have the opportunity to learn lessons. You may not like the lessons, or you may think them irrelevant and stupid. And I've been there with all of those. According to the law of lessons, the whole life is filled with learning lessons. These lessons come from experiencing polar opposite experiences. These comprise both good and bad experiences. You keep learning these lessons until your soul grows into love, joy, and awareness. Another perspective to get from the law of lessons is that you'll keep learning until you reach your grave. There's no escape from this. The most important lessons would be the most painful one. Therefore, whenever you experience something in life you don't want to experience, try to learn from it. Get the lesson that life wants you to learn, because it's going to help you later in life. Having this paradigm towards the unpleasant experiences of life would also make you feel good towards them. Having these polar opposite experiences makes us understand the various emotions that otherwise we may take for granted. For instance, in order to appreciate happiness, you need to experience sadness. If you haven't felt sadness, you can't define or be grateful for happiness. Same goes for every emotion. So I'm going to stop there for a minute because I do think that's important. And it's a tough thing to be able to... It's hard to look at an experience you're going through that is, let's say you feel it's negative and it's something hard you're working through. It's difficult to look at that and say, this is a lesson. What do I learn from this? But slowly we can get there. And I think if we go back to the first chapter where we start really accepting ourselves and just being appreciative for who we are, and that's going to go a long way to give you that confidence. And then we're going to move into these life lessons, and now you might be able to look at those a little bit differently of, this is my path, what do I need to learn from it? And you can't do that right away all the time. And I know when things go awry with me, my first reaction is absolutely not, what can I learn from this? I usually have a little bit of downtime, maybe even a day, where, I have to absorb it, or I might be in just a really bad mood. But I am evolving to the point where I can sit back and think, what's my lesson here? What do I need to learn from this? Whether it's stress at a job, whether it's stress in the household, because I have teenage boys, and things go on with them, and I get frustrated with them, and I try to sit back and think, okay, how can I handle this differently? What do I need to learn from this? Because when the situation comes up again, if I can do that, it really does help me handle it better the next time. This takes practice. It's not something you can, we all just are going to be great at and do right away. But once the initial, I don't want to say shock, but just that initial feeling of, why is this happening? What's going on? And why does this happen to me? Once that kind of wears off, if you can just sit back and take some quiet time and think, all right, what has this happened to me before in a similar way? What did I need to learn from it that I didn't? What can be my takeaway here? Where can I find just that little sliver of silver lining? I think that will help us a great deal moving forward. And that's, I think, what he's trying to say right here. So we'll move on to a little bit more, and you're going to hear my cat, and you may see him. His name is Loki. He's in here meowing. He hears me talking, and he does not want to be left out. So I really apologize for that, but kind of is my crazy life. So you make choices all day, every day. Each choice brings its own lessons. For example, you choose to wake up and you go to your job because you have learned that you'll be fired if you don't. Most of your choices aren't conscious decisions aren't conscious decisions as much as they are habits, right? And that goes with job. How often do we wake up and say, I'm going to go to work today? We wake up and it's like, you just start getting ready for work because it's a Monday or whatever, if you work Saturdays. It's just what we do. That's not even a conscious decision right now. Some of our choices will be good while others will lead to mistakes. Both result in lessons you can apply to how you conduct your life. Conduct your life, I'm so sorry. Life is a constant learning experience in which every day has opportunities to learn more. These lessons are specific to you. Learning them is the key to discovering and fulfilling the meaning and relevance of your own life as a human being. We'll all get our hearts broken. However, there are lessons we need to learn. Oh, I know, some days that make me want to throw up too, but it's true. A broken heart means this was not the one. So learn what you need to learn and be prepared for someone who is. Be thankful that the one moved out of the way so that you can see the one you deserve comes your way. And this, I do want to speak to this because that is a very, very difficult thing to do, right? And I am someone who, I went through a divorce, and there's a lot of people who have or have suffered heartbreak in some form. And that's a tough thing to be thinking during that time. Oh, well, this person's moving out of the way because the right one is coming along. And even if you can't think of it that way, sometimes if we can kind of scale back and just think, that this is happening for a reason, there are better things coming my way. Not necessarily that someone's moving out of the way, because that person played a part in your life for a reason also. You learn things there. Sometimes we learn the things that we don't want in the future, right? Or in the next relationship or the next job. Sometimes there are lessons of things we don't want necessarily, right? So if you can step back and maybe just try to find that little bit of peace here and there of, this is happening for a reason. I'm going to move through it day by day, and there are good things coming my way. That is what I tried to do. And every day was not a picnic. But I look back now and I do realize things do happen for a reason. I wouldn't be here talking to you today if so many other things in my life had worked out the way I wanted them to, or according to my plan. So try to keep that in mind. It's a little bit of comfort. So take the time to heal and find out what brings you the best in a relationship. See what attracted the person. What changed? You, them, what felt bad, what felt good, what you wanted more, what you wanted no more. If you don't know, there's a risk that you will be attracted to the same people with the same burden, yours and theirs, to live in the same relationship and eventually go through the same ending. And really, that's a waste for you. And it's a waste for the other person when you think about it, because if you haven't healed and you haven't realized what you really do want or what you don't want, then you're also wasting someone else's time also, because you're taking them on a ride that they're just it's not going to work out. So growth does require pain, and none of us like to hear that. Be patient and tough. Someday this pain will be useful to you. Those with the strength to succeed in the long run are the ones who lay a firm foundation of growth with the bricks that life has thrown at them. So don't be afraid to fall apart for just a little while, because when it happens, the situation will open an opportunity for you to grow and rebuild yourself into the brilliant person that you can be. Letting go is part of moving forward for the better. You will not get what you really deserve if you are too attached to the things you are supposed to let go of. Sometimes you fall in love and fight, you learn and you move on. And it's good. You need to be prepared to leave the life you have planned so that you can enjoy the life that awaits you. At the end, embrace what life throws at you and learn the lessons that life wants you to learn in order to grow. And that's the end of the chapter. But there is a saying, and a friend of mine actually sent this to me, and it says, life is what happens when you're busy making plans, or something like that. And we have this expectation of how our life is supposed to go, and that doesn't mean that's the best for us. That doesn't mean that's the path we're supposed to take. And sometimes we really try to force that plan. And I've been there. I've done that in my younger years. As I've gotten older, I still hold on to that a little bit because it's a sense of control. But I've also gotten a lot better at letting it go and just saying, you know what do I need to do? Let's see where life is going to take me. And I focus more on trying to learn the lessons that I can. It's not easy, and I'm not great at it yet. I'm still learning. I'm getting a little bit better as time goes on, I think. And if you aren't sure what the lesson is, just try to sit quietly with yourself and think about it. Think about the past. Think about if anything is repeating itself. And again, if you aren't sure what you want, go with what you know you don't want. Sometimes knowing what we don't want or we don't need or what made us feel bad is enough to put us in the direction of where we do want to go or where we do need to go. So if you don't have that clear image of this is what I want or this is what I need, you can always defer to what you know you don't want or don't need. So let's take a relationship for instance. Let's say you were in a relationship where someone was just very, very inattentive. Maybe they were very focused on their career. But you come back and you're not really sure what you want in a relationship necessarily. You don't know how to really formulate that whole thing, but I don't think I'm going to be interested in someone who's solely focused on their career or someone who is solely, just very inattentive. You at least know what you don't want, and that really can help you. So I think maybe this week, if we could just take some time to reflect on some of the things that we've been through in life and think about the things that we may know we want, or maybe the things that we know we don't want, and maybe we can sort of figure out why we're attracting those things into our life and what we're needing to learn from them. Because if we bring something into our life, we do need to learn a lesson, I think. And it could be a lesson that you view as positive. It could be a lesson that you view as negative. Just because someone says you need to learn a lesson from it, that doesn't automatically mean it's negative. There are a lot of really great lessons out there too. So that's just what life is, and we're just sort of moving through it as these human beings, and none of us received a manual on how to do this, right? This is about as close as we can get, is books like this, where we can just sort of little by little start incorporating these things into our everyday lives. So I really hope you guys enjoyed that chapter. And if you want to go back and watch the first video and you come up with questions on that first chapter, you can drop those in the comments as well. I will address any kind of question I get on the next video. But I do want to keep these around that 12 to 15 minute mark. I don't want these to be too awfully long. If you guys want longer videos, great. I'm good. I might even do a few shorter ones here and there. But right now it's just, once a week we're going to go a chapter at a time and see what we can do and just slowly have a little bit, maybe some more positivity in our lives at the end of the day. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful weekend, and I hope you have a beautiful remainder of the day, and I hope your next week is fantastic and just filled with love. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye.